Welcome to Club 32 Gridiron Podcast, the People's Podcast. We keep it real, no fluff, no filters. I'm your host, Ron. I got my cousin Mike in here today, and we just came to talk about the QB Carousel that's going around the NFL currently. Like, who actually has a quarterback versus who's looking for one, or looking at the young QBs that's trending towards a second contract, and which one then had, not so good of a year. It might be a bad month away from a full reset on another team somewhere. But a quick question I want to ask you before we get started. If you were
Yeah.
building a playoff team today,
hmm
what QB archetype do you think wins in 2026? The elite creator type, the rhythm distributor, or system powered operator? In today's NFL, which style do you think has a winning advantage today's league?
I think the evolution of the mobile quarterback. You gotta have somebody that's able to move around in the pocket. Gotta be able to escape because the defense is getting faster.
Yeah.
And so I think to be successful, we're no longer going to see the Peyton Mannings or the Drew Brady types that sit in the pocket or are able to sit in the pocket, for more than more than 3 seconds. Um, it's going to be a quick distribution of the football, uh, and you got to have a quarterback that's able to create and escape pockets because the edges are getting quicker. Linebackers, defensive schemes are changing. You have different schemes now. You have, uh, you had your 4-3, and then you had your 3-4, and then sometimes you have your 3-3, your 3-3, what 5, or
Yeah.
your 4, your 4-5 or whatever, 4-2-5 or 4. Yeah. So,
It's a lot
um,
of different. Yeah.
yeah, it's so many defensive schemes, and then in college, uh, so many offensive coordinators are hired based off the success of the quarterback, and most of the time, depending on whatever system they ran in college, whatever made them successful to be that high draft pick is most likely the system that they're going to thrive in or be successful in the NFL. So last year, I would say was the year of the black quarterback, right? So most, and I'm not biased to white quarterbacks because we have some white quarterbacks that are mobile as well. Shout out to Aaron Rodgers. He was a mobile quarterback for the most part. Josh Allen, mobile quarterback, but we had a lot of mobile quarterbacks uh, more than ever these last 2-3 seasons. So I think that model of quarterback is the most sought after and probably the most successful.
hmm Yeah. No. No, I agree with you. Um, you got to have a little bit of it all nowadays.
Yeah.
We'll dive into all that and more right now. But before we do, go ahead and make sure that you can like, subscribe, and hit that bell so that you can stay in the loop with Club 32. Look, the Super Bowl is over. We're going into a new era right now. New league, new year. You know what it is. QB market starts getting loud around this time. But honestly, the league is entering a bad QB market. This isn't the greatest offseason for QBs and free agency nor the draft, meaning a lot of QB2s with any juice are about to become hot commodities.
Yeah.
Why this offseason is different is because there's not enough clean starters to go around. If you need a QB, you either paying a premium for a bridge, or you trading for a contract headache, or you just drafting and just hoping that it all works out. A lot of the cap math in this situation is controlling a lot of the movement that we will or will not see. Some QBs are available in theory, but their contract structure makes them hard to move. You given the situation that we got going over there with Tua or whatnot. The succession plan teams will quietly shape the market, like the Rams and the Steelers type situations, deciding whether a whole tier of veterans even hits the free agency is another thing to be seen. But seeing if Rodgers gonna come back, assuming he does, they would still be in position to be looking for a succession plan, just like the Rams are, knowing that Stafford said that he's coming back. So, if any of these teams need a quarterback, then they're competing with half of the league for three real solutions. But honestly, if you really look at it, like you got some people who pretty got it like locked in certain franchises that QB1 isn't really up for debate. Any of these teams that we're making any noise in this cycle will be mainly just shopping for QB2s, looking for stability, not a starter. Like, I think it'd be safe to say, like, let's say the Bills, the Patriots, the Ravens, the Bengals, the Texans, Jaguars, the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Eagles, Cowboys, Lions, Packers, 49ers, the Seahawks. I mean, we kind of know exactly where they're going with these guys, and probably a few more. But for the most part, you kind of it isn't too many questions about any immediate issues at these quarterback positions. But then, like I said, you look at the Rams, and you look at the Steelers, or even the Cousins thing over in the Falcons, and what's going on with him. And even if letting go of Cousins wouldn't secure Penix as the number one starter, not sure of his injury, and they still be looking for some stability in that quarterback room as
Mhm.
well. I mean, what do you think? I mean, did I miss on the list? I mean, it could be some more, but looking at these more, let's look at these veteran positions right now, like the Rams and the Steelers type situations. Like, what do you think would be the best way to approach us? And I'm gonna just go ahead and paint it for the conversation. So this isn't what's happening, but just for the sake of conversation, let's just say that the Rodgers is coming back. So we got two teams that have their veterans coming back for next year. But what do you think that their succession plan would need to be beyond that in order to remain a contender moving forward?
Um, I mean, for Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh's in the tough situation because they really didn't operate under a succession plan, and I think
Yeah.
it was really kind of up to Tomlin and his coaching future. Um, I think there were teams like Miami where this year was like a make or break year for Tua, you know, and Mike McDonald. Really, those two kind of go hand in hand, and maybe they're in the same boat as Pittsburgh. Whatever. But one was consistent in as far as winning, and I'm talking about the Steelers, but not being successful in the playoffs, and then another team was not making the playoffs at all, right? With
Yeah.
Miami, and then you got the Jets that they just weren't doing anything. So that's like three different tiers as far as quarterback play goes, and so I mean succession plans for the Steelers. I think the Steelers are would be best to go with the vet and being it Mike McCarthy is the coach. I think maybe Cousins should take a look over, the Steelers. Um, they're definitely going to need to draft a quarterback.
So I'm gonna have
The
to
only
have
problem is that this year's draft class is, like you said, is not very deep.
but
The
that's what we say
interesting,
though. We're not
the
sure because
but
no one look at Tyler Shuck.
yeah, the I think the real interesting thing about this year though is going into this year's draft, there
Yeah.
was a heavy um there was a lot of excitement going into this year. For
Hmm.
from a college standpoint, you had Lamar Sellers, you had Arch Manning, you had a lot of players. You had
Yeah.
Dante Moore from Oregon. You had a lot of quarterbacks that were NFL eligible after last season to go into this season, but they all decided to come back mostly because they pretty much played poorly in college this year. They did not have good years. I really
Yeah.
like Lalore Sellers. To me, he's the best quarterback out of that group. Out of really all of them, he would have been my pick. But he's coming back to South Carolina next year, so
Okay.
his lag way, even though he's transferring from Florida, is a lot. Like next year is going to be bloated with quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It's going to be loaded with a lot of really good quarterbacks. But this year, those quarterbacks were supposed to be in this year's draft. So this year you're stuck with Fernandez, uh, uh, yeah, Mendoza.
Yeah.
You stuck with the Indiana coach, the Indiana quarterback, who's probably I don't know if he. I guess he's NFL ready. I don't know because I mean I do believe you got some quarterbacks that just they're good enough, but they're just really solid twos. You know,
Okay. So
they're not
but what do you do with
franchise.
the young starters? Like, what do you do with these young positions? Like, when you're looking at the Tua Tagovailoas, the Kyler Murrays,
Mm,
or even to look at the Jets, or even JJ McCarthy. I mean, given the fact that you can only see he's a proven starter at this point. I mean, how do we, how do you address these situations? I mean, especially given to his contract situation. I mean, it's not an easy move. I mean,
yeah,
the next biggest move to that would be like the Eagles trading with AJ Brown or something like that. Because I mean they got a lot of big contract. It's a lot of money to eat on that
yeah,
end. But I mean, when you're looking at these situations, though, and obviously, given the fact that I want to say what we're looking at every team, I mean, except the Vikings and the Jets, but honestly, the Vikings and Jets, I would say that their head coaches are on the hot seat this season. But the
yeah,
other two for sure, I mean, they just got two new head coaches. You would assume that coming in as the new head coaches and not having the type of success that you would have wanted or expected from these caliber or what they caliber that they were drafted to be of quarterbacks at this point, that they might not be willing to move forward with these quarterbacks, at least not in the position that they're willing to put their first chance of their career on the line for. um how do you maneuver in these situations? What do you see the
yeah.
Dolphins doing with Tua? What do you see Arizona doing with Kyler?
I think they have to stick with the vets because this year's draft is just not deep enough quarterback wise. So if you're Arizona, maybe you stick with Brissett for another year. And they didn't really play. They didn't play bad with Brissett as you know
Yeah,
as
no.
the starter. He's a little bit taller than Tyler. I have a kind of a trepidation for small quarterbacks. Brian Young, um, Kyler Murray. If you're under 6 foot,
Commercial. Commercial.
Bryce Young. If you're under if you're under 6 foot, I'm kind of a little nervous about you
Yeah.
being the franchise leader of my quarterback. Be as the quarterback. If your offensive lineman 6'9", 6'8", you're gonna have to pretty much move outside the pocket in order to make a throw. Uh, so I think this year the quarterback needy franchises who are still going to be quarterback needy next year
Hmm.
just stick with the vets. Just
Yeah.
stick with Brissett. Maybe it'd be best for the Giants, not Giants, the Jets, to stick with Tyrod Taylor for another year, or
Tough
definitely
one.
they can draft a quarterback later in the round, or you know, try give Malik Willis a chance or a shot. I mean,
Yeah.
there's not a whole lot. There's the quarterback out of Penn State wasn't great. You got Carson Beck out there who's pretty much what in his 23, 24 years old. Um, you got Haynes King from Georgia Tech who's more of a runner. You got a quarterback out of Clemson. You got Diego Pavia from Vanderbilt. You got Ty Simpson from Alabama. I mean, eh, those are you know quarterback QB2s to me. They're not ones that you roll out first day. Those are
Mm-hmm.
day three type of quarterbacks in my mind
I mean, well,
that you draft.
this this off season. I mean, it could be one of them off seasons is more about the quarterback room than the quarterback itself. I mean, the quarterback always important, but the culture is important. I mean, the room that you need around that is important. There's a lot of good names out there. I mean, you got, like you said, Malik Willis. People want to know what's
Yeah,
going on with Daniel Jones. I mean, people could even throw
Daniel Jones.
Anthony
Yeah,
Richardson out there as a reclamation project or what have you. Jimmy Garoppolo sitting over there behind Matthew Stafford. I don't know. You don't know what teams, but I mean, essentially, if you're going to go that route, then ideally you would need to do what you need to do to build around that position and that you open it up for. Like you would
right.
invest into the all offensive line or get like
Yep,
the receiver or even the defense
yep.
if you're strong in those positions. Like whatever you need to go ahead and invest in
Yep.
before you get your guy
And the
here.
quarterback
What
room.
what
I
be the
mean,
move, and then you
yeah,
make it more attractive, to come
yeah.
there. So I could definitely see. So look, okay, well, since we went one way, let's go another. So let's say that Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back to the Steelers. What do they do?
They're gonna have to draft a quarterback, or
I mean, one in free agency, you think?
they're gonna have to draft a quarterback or sign a free agent. Now I don't know who that free agent will be. Some people suggested Ty Simpson will fit in. It's really kind of up to Mike McCarthy and who he develops. Mike McCarthy, is he a developer of quarterbacks? He's always had good offenses. The player that he's normally used to is a Dak Prescott type. So,
Yeah.
maybe Pittsburgh, they draft a Pavia from Vanderbilt as their guy, maybe in the third or the fourth round. Maybe he makes that choice, um, and develops them that way. But I think ultimately those quarterback needy teams like the Steelers are probably going to be best to go after for a vet, and they're pretty much going to try to look to do the same thing that Seattle did with Darnold.
Yeah.
You know, um, the thing about
Yeah.
the Steelers is they just didn't draft any quarterbacks. They just had Justin Fields, Russell Westbrook, and what did they do with those two guys?
Don't they
They're
got
not there no more.
ain't the guy named
So,
Howard or something?
yeah, from Ohio State,
Okay,
yeah,
what's
he's
his first
there.
name?
He's there, but are we going to start him? You know,
What's his
over
first?
I think it's Tim.
But you never know. Like these, this league gets trickier and trickier, and I mean it's all improving, it's all optimism. But I mean, yeah, I mean they will try to do the due diligence by by trying. I mean, kind of get a veteran would ideally because yeah, they would need to be in a position to remain competitive while building for their succession plan because I mean they have a lot of things that they need to address. Anyway, to be honest with you, they got a lot of older pieces on that defense, and they need some more receivers weapons that receiver. Um, need to get another guard in there for sure.
Will Howard, that's it is. Will Howard
Well,
from Ohio State.
I knew it was something simple, but yeah, you never know, man. Will could be next year's Tyler Shuck. You know,
He could be.
you never know. You
He
never
could
know,
be.
man. Who knows? That's the type of way the league been going lately, man. Who you never expect to come up and just pop up.
Because I definitely wouldn't have figured. I mean, Tyler Show, he came in as a
Yeah.
older quarterback. He will be considered more of a veteran,
Mm-hmm.
um, considering his age going into. And I thought I mean, I thought New Orleans made a mistake, passing up on Shador Sanders.
Hmm.
So did the Steelers. They passed up on Shador Sanders too.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of quarterback needy teams that passed up on drafting one of the best quarterbacks last year, in Shadur Sanders, that they wouldn't be in this situation right now. Wouldn't be asking the question, who's going to be the starter.
Hmm.
In Cleveland, they draft two of them.
Yeah.
They draft the quarterback out of Oregon, and then they draft Shadur Sanders, and they got Deshaun Watson sitting there. He's going to be he should be back healthy
Hmm.
after this year. But
Yeah.
this Shadur Sanders going to get waived or let go, or the Oregon quarterback as soon as he his name comes to mind. But I mean, he was a good quarterback too. Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah. They under contract. They try to keep them on the rookie and try to see if they can develop him. And they might try to
Yeah,
shop him maybe closer towards preseason. But right now, they too cheap to worry about. They gotta build around a lot of other pieces, man. And they can still look at quarterback. I don't think that they sold their technically, but look, if I had to break it down into like a few different like pieces, like, do you think like premium, like starter capable,
mm-hmm,
bridge type quarterbacks,
mm-hmm,
though, like your Malik Willis's, your Aaron Rodgers, Daniel Jones, or even
mm-hmm,
Russell Wilson, for that matter. But then you then what do you do with your high end, QB2? You stabilize it's like your Garoppolo's, your Mariotas. Like you said, we still got people like, I mean, Zach Wilson, Mitchell Trubisky,
mm-hmm,
Kenny Pickett. I mean, Joe Flacco. I mean,
mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know how people want to build these, or maybe now these coaches get to work with them, and then it's a lot of coaches that are in systems that are able to implement and do what they want to do, and maybe that's something they weren't able to do at some point before in the past, but now they can do it given their new position. But it's definitely going to be a mix up in the carousel, and interesting to see. I wouldn't mind Garoppolo or Mario. I wouldn't mind. I think his contract won't let him go. Jameis Winston. I wouldn't mind Winston.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But I think the Giants got him kind of locked up. But yeah, it's a lot of moving pieces. A lot of moving
yeah.
pieces. Um, mm. So look, if Tua could go somewhere, would look for Tula and Kyler exclusively. I mean, they seem to be two big names nonetheless. Like, let's say that you know. Well, let me ask you this: if you
Mm-hmm,
could ideally put them where you think that they will thrive best at, you know,
mm-hmm.
whatever, all anything on the table. Would you keep them where they're at? Or where would you place them that you think, yeah, if I could just put him here, then I know he would thrive in this system or with this team.
I think Tua would do good in Arizona.
Interesting. A swap,
I think
maybe.
Tua because for one, Arizona they got weapons, right? They have the wide receiver. They got McBride at tight end. They got running backs. They got, they have pretty much the
Mhm.
offense and kind of what you would need. They're competitive. They're not far away. But, Tua, if you can give them enough protection, he can throw the ball down the field. I mean, we've seen that do it with Ty Hill and and Waddell. He just know he doesn't have the defense to really
Yeah.
um back him up, I guess. But I think in Arizona it will be a fresh start for him. And I think if we're looking at Brissett, who isn't, there, I think Brissett would do well with the Jets because he's a bigger quarterback. He's just built bigger, and with their offense, which is primarily running the ball, you only have Gary Wilson as your primary receiver.
We got Brees Hall on their contract though. I mean, so
Yeah, Brees Hall.
he
So
might not come back, and so that might change that running dynamic too.
you know,
I
but
don't know.
he's kind of built to
Yeah,
to sustain hits. You know, um,
yeah, yeah. I get what you're saying. A little bit bigger body. Yeah.
but I think Tua, and I mean the big thing about Tua, of course, is his health and concussions. So
You
I
know, according
it's
to Over
really
the
all
Cap,
about protection and scheme.
according to Over the Cap, the 2026 cap charge would be like 56 million with Tua. It's
Oh,
a
okay.
sizable chunk to eat up. I don't think they'll do it. Like even if they wanted flexibility, the contract just really don't allow them to do it. Like they a trade would just be real difficult, given the current structure without Miami having to eat any of the money.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know, I mean, but hey, I mean, if you're talking about Brissett or Kyler, or you said two in Arizona, what about a swap? What would you send two in Arizona and bring Kyler to Miami?
Um, Kyler, he probably could do well in Miami. I think he'd do well in Miami. It's tough. I mean, I don't know who. It depends on who won him the most.
Yeah,
The
I
whole
mean,
thing
yeah,
with Kyler Murray is they've
just right
questioned his
there.
maturity and his study. You know, so with
Yeah.
and his health in to some degree, but I think if you bring him along to Miami, then that just gives Miami a fresh look, a fresh start.
Yeah. No, it is. It is. I mean, you look at a team like the Titans and having Will Levis and how they might shop him. I mean, that could be one of those cheap enough to keep type of scenarios. I mean, according to Over the Cap, I mean they're only at a cap hit of 3 million for him. I mean that number is low enough that Tennessee isn't really forced to dump him out, but he is a logical trade chip if another team believes in his upside more. And I think they can actually do the same thing that they probably did with Malik Willis last year when they sent him off to Green Bay.
Hmm.
I mean, if it's better for the culture and the environment, and you can actually get some value for him, then why not? I mean, why not? I mean, you get value of production, and the production doesn't seem likely, so why not get the value? But nonetheless, a lot of people have been floating Kyler Murray to the Jets, still possibly. What do you think about that? What do you think about that situation and putting him over
I
there?
I think it'd be Kyler Murray in the Jets uniform. I mean, scheme wise, saying that they like to run,
Yeah,
and they're going to use him outside of the pocket more than inside. Maybe I could. That's the only way I could see it working. That's the
hmm,
only way.
yeah,
Kyler Murray's a little tough though. I think wherever he goes, he's going to have to start because they paid him.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, he definitely. I think he'll go somewhere to start. I don't think he's at that point in his career. Yeah, it's just really seeing, what team actually will fit that need at this point in his career. Um, it's interesting to see how
Exciting
it all
player
shakes
though.
out.
I mean, he's gonna be.
Yeah,
He's a tough cover. He's a tough to spy on. He's a dangerous runner.
yeah.
I think under the right coach, under the right scheme, he could do well. Maybe under a run first,
Mm-hmm.
type of system.
Mm. Interesting to see how that develops, man. Gonna have to stay on top of all of that and more, man. Look, I think Malik Willis could get starter level money,
Mm.
man, and
What do you think?
team to call it, QB inflation. But I'm not saying that he's worthy of it, but it's just one of the markets that one of these quarterbacks. I'm not gonna, more than they'll get overpaid. It'll be more than the value, more than their worth actually.
Because
You know,
I think the one place, if there is one place where any of those veterans could probably go to,
yeah.
I guess you will have to say it would be Indiana, the Colts,
But then what are
Indianapolis
they doing
Colts.
with Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson? What they saying? Daniel on
Well,
the one or their deal? I'm not
Daniel,
even. No,
Daniel Jones, he's currently
one.
injured,
It's a
and
1 year.
he gonna be I think he hurt his Achilles,
Yeah.
and Anthony Richardson. I'm not, do they still believe in him? You know,
I don't know.
he was a high
Somebody.
prospect, but do they still believe in him to be their quarterback? Maybe he needs to change the center. Maybe he needs to get out of. He needs to go to a place where the coaching staff will believe in him. You know,
Yeah.
I think if Anthony Richardson might do well in Pittsburgh because of how his physique, how tall he is. He kind of fits the mold for that division. Tough quarterback.
Yeah. Uh, we'll see. Got a lot
It's a
about it,
lot
man.
of kind of unknowns because you
Yeah.
know
It is.
we don't know what kind of quarterback Mike McCarthy is going to develop
Mm-hmm.
or can develop or can do.
I mean, so you think he gonna stick to the same?
You said who?
Do you think he'll stick to the same scheme or like run like a different scheme and try to like
Oh, Mike McCarthy.
maybe a blend of traditional versus modern? Yeah.
No, I mean I think he'll try to do the same thing he did in
In Dallas.
in Dallas. Let's see his coaching staff.
Hmm. So
This is the
you think San Fran gonna think
he's
they're gonna keep Mac
bringing.
Jones there?
You said who?
Think San Fran gonna keep Mac Jones there?
San Fran, Mac Jones. Uh,
He did good this year when he stepped in.
yeah. I mean, if he wants to stay there, if Mac Jones wants to stay there, and I mean develop. I mean, hey, Shanahan's a good coach.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he's a good coach now. I mean, Sam Darnold's there. Even though he spent a year there, he obviously learned something during that year to
Mm-hmm.
carry him over at least to Minnesota.
That's true. And I know you had mentioned Kirk Cousins and the Falcons, and I believe all reports are pointing to them trending towards letting them go. So is that? Do you think that
Yeah.
they're just gonna go all in on their pick and Michael Penix, or are they going to bring in another veteran or maybe some competitive insurance? How do you think they approach the
I
situation
think
down in Atlanta? It's Kevin
I think
Stefanski, man, first year head coach. He got to make something shake, man. How do you think Stefanski gonna approach the situation?
I think Atlanta I think going all in on Penix is the smart
They let
decision.
Cousins go. You have to assume so, right?
Yeah,
Or do
I think
something.
going all in on Penix is a smart decision. But I do think they're going to bring in some competition, a draft, a quarterback.
Mhm.
Um, I do think, as far as Kirk Cousins go, it's really more so what are you asking him to do at his age at this point in his career.
Yeah.
Some suggest or think that maybe he should go or consider going back to Minnesota. I mean, I mean that might work to back up JJ. Um, but if I think Cousins would do better in Miami or Pittsburgh, either
You
one
know,
of
that's
those.
possible. I don't think I'm gonna be honest with you, and it's just a personal thing.
Mm,
He got real heavy roots there in Atlanta, and he was real excited when they moved back there. His wife, his family, a lot of
yeah,
friends there. So it's heavy rooted, I'm gonna assume that because it was crazy when we seen them pay Kurt and they turn around and draft Penix.
yeah,
So at the time, you would think that he would I mean, because this is why it's an issue right now with the contract, but to
yeah,
ride his career out nonetheless there, and
yeah.
then just go ahead and retire and just stay there in Atlanta. So I mean, if he got to do this situation, I don't think that he would want to move too far from home.
From
I
Atlanta.
think he'll rather
Okay.
go, maybe do 2-year contract somewhere else, ride that out and then just come back. So I don't think he want to uproot the family. And like I said, just our personal stuff, and it's like at this point in his career, yeah. I mean, I mean, Kirk Cousins been getting the bag his whole career. Franchise tag, got the franchise tag, got the front. Like he been racking up. Be honestly, like he didn't had a good, pretty lucrative career. But yeah. So you look at teams that's more regional to Atlanta, and will be more likely as a suitable backup situation. Like so, you would say something like Jacksonville, or even Tennessee, or who's that?
Or
The Saints
Vegas.
maybe.
I mean,
Well,
what
it's
if
a little
Cousins
bit
goes to
further out.
Vegas? You know,
Well, that's
he
on the coast. No, that's way out. That's in the desert. Atlanta on the East Coast. You're
yeah,
almost in LA at that point. But not saying he couldn't go to any of these places, but I'm saying if I'm not trying to make any splash and I'm just riding out this contract and I'm not trying to uproot my family and I want to make my commute as easy as possible, what eligible
hmm,
regional teams am I willing to go be a backup for? Maybe not looking to be a quarterback. I mean, he got good money coming. He's still gonna get
he's
he,
gotten paid now. Yeah,
yeah. I'm saying, like, look, let me just go do this. I ain't gonna go too far away. I ain't gotta travel too far. And so I don't know. I would say look at those teams. Look at those teams that are not necessarily in division but regional. To it could even be hell North. It could be the Carolina Panthers. Could go in the
could
division.
be.
It could
Yeah,
go right there and be a backup for Bryce and stuff. Who knows? But just look at the regional. But they still got Andy Dalton, so I don't know. Maybe they keep the red rifle for a little while longer. But nonetheless, just yeah, that's what I would say. Now I said I could be totally wrong. Who knows? Gonna go where the opportunity takes him. But I think, given the stature of Kirk Cousins, most people would pick him as a backup QB over most options that would be floating around. Or QB2 over most options that would be floating around. So I think you have a little more leeway in there, especially given the fact that teams trying to reshape their roster. So why not try to plug a veteran in? If you could, so those teams might have their location might be the advantage, and then they'll evaluate rosters and what have you. But nonetheless, it's a lot to look at throughout the whole league.
yeah.
Is
It's
there
a
a
lot of
point
unknowns.
or any other points that you want to touch on or speak on that I haven't touched or maybe we didn't touch on enough or whatnot?
I just think it's gonna be an interesting off season.
Yeah,
I mean,
never
the
lie.
quarterback room, the 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 coaching carousel
Mm-hmm.
is going to determine a lot of things. I think normally after every Super Bowl, everyone looks at what did the Super Bowl champs do to get to where they
Yeah,
are. You
every
know,
time. Yeah.
and they want to look at and they want to follow the same pattern, uh, the same structure, whatever the case may be. So, we look at Seattle, a solid defense, a
Always.
focus on
Yep.
running the ball. They trade away Metcalf.
Yeah.
They stuck with their single number one wide receiver. They drafted some really good guys.
Mm-hmm.
Um, two running back system, and they won the Super Bowl.
And they got like
The
74 million
Patriots,
cap space. They like fourth in cap space. They got
yeah,
money to
yep,
spend
and they
to.
got to resign some guys. They got
Yeah.
some key guys they got to resign.
But they got the money to do it. That's what I'm saying. A lot of teams don't have that
Yeah,
advantage. They got the money. The Chiefs is like negative 53 million in cap right
yeah,
now. And so everybody ain't so lucky, but
yeah. No,
but
everybody's
no, they
able.
but you know what I say more than anything, if people want to look for the formula, they don't really have to. They look at what always wins and what always will win, and that's defense.
Yeah,
Every time. Defense. Look what the Eagles did to the Chiefs. Defense. Look at how teams beat Tom Brady's defense. It's always the defense. The defense, the defense, the defense. Even if you look at the Atlanta and the Patriots one, you had to say the defense because Atlanta scored 28 points in the first half and then don't score nothing the whole second half. I mean, the defense just shut you out.
yeah,
Y'all not that bad. Y'all made it to the Super Bowl. Y'all ain't nothing wrong with y'all. Y'all know how to play. Like, defense always prevails. Look at the Cam Newton. What shut him down? Defense. Every time. It's always the defense. So,
mm,
and the defense is all they need to focus on. Somebody need to invest. Defense.
yeah.
Defense.
This year, I think
You
the
build
the
around that. Yeah.
the focus is going to be
Definitely.
on defense, building the
Yeah.
offensive line, and more so the coaching,
Mm-hmm.
because there
Yeah.
are a lot of teams that you look at the Bills, they didn't necessarily need to fire their
Oh no.
coach, but they
Absolutely
have
not.
a new
But
coach. That's that's one really good coach that's out there. They could, you know, whoever isn't good next year is going to grab.
yeah.
It's going to be about coaching who they got. I mean, the Tennessee Titans, they got Salah and Dayball. So they're going to be an interesting team to watch next year. It's going to be
Yeah. You don't
interesting
want
to see what Jacksonville does next year.
to get beat by us twice. That's what's gonna
It's going to be interesting to see what the Redskins are. They going to regress
yeah.
even more?
I was gonna say something about Jaden Daniels too. Talking about the quarterbacks, give my honorable mention because anybody really talking about him, but that's something to keep an eye on too because we've seen him try to come back and get hurt, and yeah, so it's just definitely
They and they
uh,
lose Kingsbury.
because
So
honestly,
you
if
know,
they have a season below 500, and let's say he comes back and play a full season, and have a season below 500, and I think the whole team would be kind of warming up to get some heat on them, Dan Quinn, and figuring out if they want to stick with Jaden. But yeah, like you said, it's always decisions year by year because it's what they said NFL stand for not for long. So you know,
yeah,
what have you done for me lately? And so that's what it's gonna be, man. So we're gonna see. It's interesting, man. It's gonna be
yeah,
interesting to see how all these things come through. All these things come through. But nonetheless, to the viewers, man, for y'all out there, I want to thank you for coming through. That's another one in the books from Club 32, and this is just where fans talk about the game, and you can come on here and do the same. So make sure to follow us at Club 32 GP and stay connected with the club for all of our NFL breakdowns and for your chance to be a guest and represent your squad the way that they're meant to be represented. So until next time, it's been real, and good luck with your team because we're gonna talk about them too.
yeah.
Appreciate you. Be safe. We out.